Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the Spider-Man Homecoming. This is Marvel's Shocker. If we go ahead and grab the tape measure, we can find out that Shocker, Marvel's Shocker to be exact, stands exactly 6 inches tall. Sadly, he doesn't come with any sort of accessories whatsoever. Basically, what you see is what you get. I can't tell you, I think this is a relatively new released figure, as these have just started showing up, at least here in Canada, at Walmart and Toys R Us. Picked him up because, well, we didn't get ourselves a movie Shocker in the Marvel Legends line, and I want to get myself a Shocker. Shocker looks pretty interesting as a figure. It's always been one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. And the figure as a whole is pretty good. Unfortunately, though, because he's a basic figure, he really doesn't have much in the way of posability, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's have a look at some of the details on his face, his costume, and all that other goodness. Well, his face and his body is very reminiscent of the original Shocker design, right down to that cross-stitching pattern that he's got on his mask and his arms. Paint is, for the most part, generally clean. You can kind of see how the yellow has been applied over top of an existing color, because you can see some of the little areas in which the yellow paint has started flaking itself off. Paint of yellow especially never really transitions well or never gets added well to plastic or over top an existing color. Generally, you can see a lot of little areas where, well, the yellow doesn't do the greatest of jobs of covering, or, you know, it starts flaking itself off. So it's not 100% perfect. It's not 100% clean the way it was applied, but I guess it gets the job done. One thing I kind of wish that this figure did have was something just to bring out some of those little cross-hatching sort of pattern that he has on his costume. Not to say that she should get like a stark black, because that I think would be a little bit too distracting. But at least maybe like a darker yellow could have gone a long way. The lighter yellow that we got right now, which is kind of like a lemon yellow, but then maybe like a darker yellow in those little recessed areas, so that the little cross-hatching would stand itself out a little bit better. I can tell you at least the rest of the coloring, not counting the yellow, is generally done pretty good. The silvers are good, especially I love the detailing here in his Shocker gauntlets here that he's got on his arm. They look quite good. It looks like they maybe have gotten 2 coats of wash, like primary silver, and then they've gone in and just given like a little bit of a darker coloring in there as well. Or what they could have done is they could have just been a little relaxed when they put on the silver, so that some of the colors on the underneath of the silver would have shined through. So maybe like this is just an all black figure, for example, and they've put just silver on most of the areas that still some of that black plastic has showcased itself through. So it's kind of a way of cheating, so to speak. But the sculpt on the gauntlets are actually pretty good. And really, as a whole, it looks it's a pretty good figure. I don't have necessarily a whole lot of complaints to be made for the figure. Like the texturing of his pants seem a little, I don't dare say the word lazy, but that's kind of the tone I want to use. You get the point that it's fabric and it has folds and stuff to it, but it just seems like it's very, there's no real rhyme, no reason necessarily for the way stuff flows on the costume. Like this area here just looks like it's a bunch of waves. I'm not going to be a nitpick and start, you know, a little commenting here and there that, well, the fabric isn't flowing the right way. At least it's flowing, at least it's got something, but it kind of does seem like they just kind of went like this with the plastic. The plastic, for the most part, or this area of the leg, is sculpted pretty good. And you've got your silver on the undersoles and the front silver areas of the shin guards. Looks pretty good. The silver isn't too sloppy. The yellow, I think, is basically the culprit in most of this, as the coloring that got a little sloppy on this figure. But for the most part, the figure actually looks pretty good. Now, unfortunately, because he is a basic class figure, this is all the articulation he's going to get. To his credit, at least he gets himself a ball joint, though you can't really lift his head up higher than really what this is right now, but at least you can rotate the head all the way around. The arms, pleasantly, can at least swing out, as opposed to just doing this. You can't rotate the arms. The arms are not movable. You can't do anything really with those. You can't do anything with the waist. And then for the legs, don't hold your breath. Well, I guess you could hold your breath because that's all that's all there is. That's all you can really get out of the legs. And there, in a nutshell, is Shocker. Going in and picking up a Spider-Man Homecoming basic class figure, you kind of know what you're going to really get. The Spider-Man, of course, gets a little bit more luxuries in the way of articulation, where unfortunately Shocker here is very much similar to Vulture, very relegated to very simple, basic posability. The plus, however, though, is this is really the first time we've gotten ourselves a movie Shocker, and it really could have done better to be put in a Marvel Legends lineup. Still, unfortunately, this may be the only way you get yourself a Shocker, and for that reason I would say he's worth picking up. Quality, though, on the yellow, of course, can be problematic. You can probably see even the interior of the arms there have heavy yellow flaking. Yellow never gets applied seams properly to plastic, and in this case, Shocker's a good example of yellow not done in the greatest of ways. Sculpt is passable. Unfortunately, I kind of wish he was a little bit taller, then he could fit in with a Marvel Legends. Unfortunately, his scale will be, of course, completely off. But still, if you want to get yourself a Shocker figure from the Spider-Man Homecoming movie, this is as good as you're gonna get. Take that with a grain of salt. Today, once again, we were having a look at the Spider-Man Homecoming. This was the basic figure of Shocker. Marvel's Shocker, to be exact. If you guys like this video, certainly hit it with a like down below. If you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe to this channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that little subscribe button down below. You won't miss a beat when it comes to future videos. And also, if you want to go back and check out some of the previous Spider-Man Homecoming reviews, I specifically got a playlist on this channel that you can go out and check those old videos out and watch at your viewing pleasure. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. See you next time.